What's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So, top 10 evil people from history we wish we could forget. Now, we did one of those, but I think we started out with like part 5 or something like that. Y'all know how I am, man. I just be all over the place. I don't really go in a particular order. I don't know, maybe just a rebel or just, I don't know what it is inside of me that does that. But I don't know. I do it my way, I guess. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But we're going to check this video out, man. That last one was super, super crazy. So I wanted to double back and hear some more. I don't know why I'm drawn to it. Like a moth to a flame. I don't know why I'm drawn to it, but it is what it is. I'm drawn to it. We're going to check it out. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Join the fam, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for just coming back, rocking with me, subscribing, coming to the channel, checking it out, and sticking around and kicking it with me, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. So, we're going to check this out. If you're new to the channel, what I told you to do, hit the subscribe button. Join us as we acknowledge the haters. Moment of silence for the haters. That's enough. Now, run the likes up, baby. Yo. The moment of silence, everybody loves the moment of silence for the haters. I put up an Instagram post the other day about the dog's crate, how they chewed through the bottom of the crate. And people was putting that all up under the comment section, man. Y'all had me dying and rolling. So that has definitely become a thing. And I love it. You know what I mean? Y'all catch anybody else trying to do what we do, y'all let me know. All right, let's check this out. Here we go.
History, there have been battles between the forces of good and evil. Today's list is all about the people that were so evil we truly wish they never existed. From awful world leaders to minions of demise, today's list features people we wish never got the opportunity to thrive, if you can call it that. So without further ado, let us review our top 10 evil people from history we wish were never born. Number 10, Tomás de Torquemada. Ever heard of the Spanish Inquisition? Well, this guy was one of its star killers. Not only do we wish it never happened in the first place, it did, so we might as well talk about it and learn from it. But we can't discuss the Inquisition without mentioning Tomás, who was responsible for thousands of deaths. He gave people two choices: either join the Catholic Church or die, which led to thousands of Jewish and Islamic people being exiled from Spain. He played the role of inquisitor and was in charge of investigating and punishing heretics. He oversaw the burning of thousands of innocent people, as Tomás often used cruel methods of extracting confessions from people he believed to be heretics. He seemed
I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I feel like that still exists today. Maybe not to that extreme to which he went, but I feel like, you know, sometimes some religions or different things like that, people make you feel bad. Like, you know what I mean? You're lesser than if you don't choose the religion they're in, and that's not right. So whatever you choose and, you know, you believe your beliefs and everything like that. So I don't know. I just feel like that still exists today. What about y'all? Y'all still feel that way? You know, they make you, some people or some religious beliefs will make you feel lesser than because you're not following their beliefs. And I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's right.
To almost enjoy his job, hanging, burning, suffocating, and tormenting people with the rack and waterboarding. No one knows exactly how many people died during the Inquisition, but historians estimate anywhere between 30,000 to 300,000. Pretty wide gap there. Number 9, Caligula. Man, his name is too fun to say. Too bad he wasn't a fun guy. It's better I tell you now that essentially this list is a depiction of what happens when the wrong people get their hands on power. From 37 AD to 41 AD, Caligula ruled as if he was some kind of mad god that needed to be satisfied. Not only did his addiction to gambling cause a nightmare for the economy, he seemed to delight in suffering. In the first 3 months of his rule, he made his people sacrifice 160,000 animals in his name. When he first took over as ruler, people actually liked him though. He made helpful political reforms and recalled exiles, but most people blame his future tyranny on a brain fever that befell him later on. He blew money on lavish projects, some still helpful like aqueducts, to building a 2-mile-long floating bridge across the Bay of Bali so he could ride his horse across it day after day. He even ordered his men to attack the sea by collecting shells with their helmets. His lascivious love affairs included—
Well, see, I'm a person that believes money just exposes who you really are. You know, when you were this way, but you might couldn't really tell it. Money just exposes who you really are. I'm a firm believer of that. I don't think you change when you get money all the time. Some of the times it happens, but I think for the most part, it shows who you really are. That's what I think.
Copulating with the wives of his allies and even allegedly his own sisters. Caligula's reign was equal parts terrifying and embarrassing, which is probably
money and power, my bad. Money and power.
Caligula's reign was equal parts terrifying and embarrassing, which is probably why his officers stabbed him to death. Number 8, Leopold II of Belgium. During the height of colonialism, Leopold of Belgium wanted to make his mark by conquering the African Congo. As soon as I say colonialism, you know where things are going, so get ready. He made it his property, and instead of, being a good human being, he decided to establish a dictatorship instead. He made the rest of Europe think that he was acting as a good guy, so they'd give him money, then proceeded to hire mercenaries. These mercenaries were set with the task of draining as much money from the state by enforcing free labor camps. Anyone who disobeyed or failed to meet demands were severely punished and even had their limbs removed. Leopold was responsible for the deaths of 20% of the population and thankfully was stopped before he could do more damage. Roger Casement, after doing a little digging, released a report which detailed the horrors he had committed under the guise of philanthropy. He was forced to surrender the Congo, though it was considered a part of Belgium until the 1950s.
Like, if you're gonna be that type of person, you should expect death is coming. It's near. It's close, bro. You can smell it. You can smell death. It's coming for you, fam. Like, you think you're gonna wipe out 20% of the population there and nothing's gonna happen to you? They're not gonna revolt against you? You're delirious. Pretty much. It's coming. And the only thing now is whether you're gonna see it coming or you're not. It's the only two things I say.
Oh, buckle up, folks. It only gets worse from here. It's number 7, and we're already at Genghis Khan. Get ready. Genghis Khan, ruler of the Mongolian Empire, killed so many people. He changed the carbon footprint of the earth. In one single battle, he killed over 1.2 million people. Though this sounds like an exaggeration, I don't find it hard to believe, since he just left the corpses to rot. The battlefields became oily and whole mounds of, mountains of bodies formed. Genghis Khan was supposedly responsible for over 40 million deaths. If you need a number to compare that to, that's the same amount of people who died in World War I altogether. He also enjoyed in excess the spoils of war, brutalizing women and assaulting them. In addition to that, he held mass beauty contests, and all those who didn't win would be given to his soldiers like objects. Because of that, around 16 million people are said to be descendants of him today. That's how many people Many people blame his brutal and ruthless upbringing, as Khan very much had to raise himself under the mentality to kill or be killed. He even killed his own brother at age 10 just for not sharing food. He was also horrendous when it came to tormenting his betrayers. Some ways include pouring molten silver down their throats and sawing people in half while they were still alive. Oh, and he killed 75% of the population of Iran and tried to commit an entire genocide. Yeah, the list goes on, but so does this list, and there is more to come, so let's go. Number 6, Talat Pasha. Pasha was the Grand Vizier to the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire in the early 20th century and was the main architect of the Armenian genocide. When Armenian families were evicted from their homes in 1915, his signature was on the orders. On April 24th, they executed several hundred intellectuals in order to begin Turkifying the country. Many were sent through the Mesopotamian desert on death marches without food or water after being stripped naked so the sun would just boil them alive. Anyone who stopped walking was shot. He also created a special organization made of killers and ex-convicts who were ordered to carry out the liquidation of the Christian elements. They drowned people in rivers, threw civilians off cliffs, even crucified and burned people alive. Yep, this happened in the 1900s, by the way. So there are about 600,000 to 1.5 million reasons we wish this man never existed, because that is how many people Pasha was responsible for killing. Ooh, man. Number 5, Idi Amin. General Idi Amin staged a coup on January 25th, 1971 and forced Uganda's first Prime Minister Milton Obote into exile. From there, he created a reign of terror that abused Uganda's freedom after more than 70 years of British rule. Amin organized mass executions of Akoli and Lango Christian tribes who were—
She's saying Amin, but is she saying Idi Amin? Is that— because now I'm listening to the story and I think that's—
From there, he created a reign and Idi Amin. General Idi Amin staged a coup.
Okay, yeah, she is talking about that. I was like, dang, it's two people that pretty much, you know what I meant.
On January 25th, 1971, and forced Uganda's first Prime Minister, Milton Obo, into exile. From there, he created a reign of terror that abused Uganda's freedom after more than 70 years of British rule. Amin organized mass executions of Akoli and Lango Christian tribes who were loyal to Obo. He terrorized his own country with internal security forces whose main purpose was to eliminate those who opposed him. His brutality also resulted in the collapse of the economy. This man just seemed like he just didn't have a single good bone in his body. He was also rumored to have eaten human flesh, and his vicious and inhumane rule resulted in the death of 300,000 civilians. Eventually, Amin was forced to flee and sought refuge in Saudi Arabia, though he was never punished for his crimes and died in 2003 due to organ failure. So he got away with it, essentially. Number 4, Pol Pot. You'd think a leader's job would be to protect and serve their country with love and respect, but I guess Pol Pot didn't see it that way. Originally named Salah Sar, Pot was the leader of the Khmer Rouge totalitarian regime during 1975 to 79 in Cambodia, though technically longer. It was a radical communist government who caused the death of more than 2 million people through forced labor, starvation, disease, torment, persecution, and execution. He wanted to purify society and wanted to extinguish capitalism, Western culture, city life, religion, and all foreign influences in order to form a pure communist regime. All media outlets, along with embassies and external medical help, were refused, and essentially he barricaded Cambodia into their own little world. Education was halted, healthcare eliminated. It was crazy. The people were forced into slave labor on the killing fields, only allowed 180 grams of rice a day. Deadly purges were conducted to eliminate remnants of the old society, including monks, police, doctors, lawyers, teachers, ex-soldiers, along with their families, and former government officials. His cruelty and madness knew no bounds. It took years for him to finally be put under house arrest by his peers and was never truly punished for his crimes against humanity. He died of a heart attack in 1998 following his arrest. So, yeah. And we're reaching our top 3. I bet you thought number 3 was gonna be number 1. Nope, there were worse people than him, believe it or not. Number 3, we have Adolf. I can't say his last name because apparently YouTube won't let me, which is ridiculous. So he's not Voldemort, but you know who I'm talking about, that really evil German guy. Yeah, I don't really need to go into detail here unless you don't know about one of the most infamous genocides.
What's understood don't have to be explained. We all know.
To take place in all of history. Along with the amount of people Adolf's army killed in World War II, his warped and disgusting worldview resulted in the destruction of more than 6 million lives, mainly those of Jewish descent, but LGBTQ, political prisoners, and basically anyone he and his followers deemed a lesser human. He was the personification of hatred and led the world into one of the most deadly wars to date. We should also give a shout out to all of his henchmen who served underneath him, all working together to enact one of the cruelest moments in history. If he hadn't been born, who knows if it would have happened anyways due to political and social tensions of the time, but maybe, just maybe, it wouldn't have happened at all, and all those lives would still be around today. Number 2, guys, like I knew he was bad, but dug deep today, and I would never thought I would say this, but number 2, Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin made his own henchmen disappear in photos, and boy do we wish it was him instead. Stalin was the premier of the Soviet Union and was responsible for the deaths of more than 20 million of his own people, double that if you count World War II. He ruled for 30 years and ruled with an iron fist, eliminating anyone who opposed him, and as you can guess, there were many. In 1927 and 1929, he had 1 million people exiled or imprisoned, 9 to 11 million were forced off their lands, and 3 million peasants were arrested or exiled in the mass collectivization program. 6 to 7 million were killed by artificial famine in the 1930s. During 1936 to 1938, he executed approximately 750,000 during the Great Terror, a brutal political campaign to remove dissenters and any others he considered a threat.
I think Kanye said it best, like, no one man, finish the sentence, y'all, should have all that power. That's ridiculous, bro.
so paranoid. This guy had no regard for human life whatsoever. While the world was focused on Adolf, he was doing all of this, and he was fighting on the Allies' side, though we started supporting Hitler, and then he came onto our side. Anyways, it is estimated that Stalin orchestrated the deaths of 60 million people, which means about 40,000 people died every week during his reign. Need I say more? And if you think that's bad, number one spot, Mao Zedong. Ready? I don't think anyone can be. Mao Zedong during 1966 to 1976 turned China into a house of fear by eradicating 65 million people. In his attempt for a socialist China, he killed anyone that got in his way, kind of like Stalin, through execution and mass starvation. His biggest threat was the intellect. And
I know you're thinking to yourself, like, how do people like this even exist? Like, in my mindset, I'm like, bro, if we know he's wiping out people, he's eventually gonna get to us. What are we gonna do, man? Are we gonna stand around and just lay down and die? Or are we gonna try to figure something out? You know what I'm saying? And I know that's how they had to be thinking. I don't believe everybody just laid down and died. Some people tried to do something, but he was probably just too powerful, had too much, you know what I mean? Too much either military backing him or whatever. Whoever was executing his plan. It's just, fam.
Feared Emperor Shi Huang, who buried 460 scholars and sought to surpass him by burying alive 46,000 scholars. Yeah, my stomach turned when I read that. That's awful. He coined his operation the Great Leap Forward. To combat rising resistance, he created the Red Army, composed of girls and boys from the ages of 14 to 21 to roam cities and target enemies of the state, especially their teachers. He would make the teachers wear dunce hats, cover their faces with ink, and make them crawl on all fours and bark like dogs. He also expanded a system of 1,000 forced labor camps. Most amazing, fam. I could go on, but I honestly don't have room. It just seems like there's no end to all the awful things that he did. For all these reasons and more, Mao is of course in our #1 spot. Oh God, the world would definitely be a different place if these people weren't born. Perhaps we'd be in a better place, or maybe someone worse was waiting in the sidelines, who knows?
And I agree with that sentiment right there. You know what I mean? These people that exist, but do y'all still think people exist like that today? Yeah, maybe not as extravagant as they were, you know, with the killing and everything. But yeah, I solely believe these people still do exist. Matter of fact, I call them politicians. Yeah, they might not be executing people in front of our eyes like they were doing and wiping people out in the masses, but yeah, those people who are doing these types of things, they're your politicians these days. Yeah, they hold those type of positions. That's just how I feel.
Both good and evil are in.
Well, there's nothing else left to see, but y'all get at me in the comment section, man. The top 10 evil people from history we wish we can forget. This list was crazy. The numbers were astronomical of the amount of people that were wiped out over somebody's reign of pretty much terror. They rise to power, and in their reign, this is what they did. You can only hope that they're paying for it in the afterlife. That's it. That's all. You know what I mean? And even though that's not my place to say, slipped out, but it is what it is at that point, man. I don't like hearing stuff like that, hearing people suffering or being killed or anything like that, man, just because of your reign of terror. No, I don't like it. No. So I'm gonna have to go calm down. Now, this is one of them videos that triggered. I can feel myself being triggered, so I need to go walk it off. Go take a little walk. So y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of this, and stick around and stay tuned, man. Like she said, it's probably gonna get worse the more we keep researching and finding and listening and watching. So prepare ourselves, me included. Till the next reaction, I'm out. Peace, y'all. Stay solid. Hey.